Howdy.
Howdy.
We are currently sitting in JFK Airport in New York, America.
New York City, New York.
Good
job, Holly. Yeah, so we flew home yesterday, for those of y'all who
haven't been told or did not know. It was not an easy decision.
It really wasn't.
It was not a decision we wanted to make.
No.
And this is just a video kind of explaining our thoughts and feelings about having to come back to America and why we did come back to America.
Yeah, so honestly, a week ago now, like today.
Yeah, 1 week ago today.
I guess like a couple days before that, we had called Chris and Christy just to, catch up, talk about some things, and they had said, hey, what do you think about coming back? And we said, well, I mean, we hadn't really thought about it. We're still planning on like going back when we have tickets for, and Chris was like, okay, that's fine and good, but you might want to go ahead and call the embassy and just see if there's a wait list you're going to have to get on, or like fill out a bunch of forms and just start getting paperwork
see what the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine recommended Americans to do, just because that's the practical thing to do right now.
Yeah,
and the cases of COVID in Ukraine have started going up more.
Yeah, exponentially.
Yeah.
And so we thought, that is probably a good idea just to get all of our ducks in a row. So let's just call the embassy tomorrow. So
we did.
Thursday.
Thank you. Yes, Thursday of
last week.
Last week, we called the embassy. Honestly, on that morning, I woke up very confident we weren't going to leave Ukraine.
Same. Both of us.
So 1 week ago, at this time, we were very confident we were staying in Ukraine till August.
Mm-hmm.
And we called the embassy. Thank you, Ilya, for letting us use your phone.
Yes.
And I was like, hi, we are two Americans. We are supposed to be here until end of July, beginning of August. Do you have recommendations? And it was the most unhelpful phone call of my life.
They literally said, we don't know anything. There's a flight going out on the 20th, but we don't know when the next one is coming out and coming in. And we said, well, y'all had been doing like a flight a month out. The Ukrainian International Airlines have been doing a flight a month. And they said, okay, yes, but we don't know when the next one is coming through. It might be 2021. And we said,
what?
Great.
So our options were either have a guaranteed flight yesterday. What is this month? May 20th. Guaranteed come back to the United States. Potentially have one or two more for the rest of 2020. Or have a guaranteed flight January 2021. So within the hour,
we had to juggle through all of our options. And part of it is PHA. Everything with PHA is closed right now. The Domex aren't operating. All of the camps have been canceled. So what Holly and I had
and in
come
Ukraine,
to do...
wait, pause. In Ukraine, all of the orphanages, all of the schools, anything dealing with kids, anything dealing with many humans is just shut down. The orphanages are still keeping kids, but if they have families, we've explained the foster orphans. If you don't know what we're talking about, go watch our other videos. But if the kids have families, they've been sending them back to their families. No one's allowed to go in. Schools aren't operating. All summer camps have been canceled. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so, and then they don't know what the fall is going to look like. So it was either us staying in Ukraine in our quarantine that we had already been doing for 2 months in Komenskoye indefinitely.
Until we came home.
Or we just come home.
And we don't think that there was a right decision. Because both decisions were hard, but the wisest decision was to go ahead and come home. And we called everyone. We called Tanya, we called Chris and Christy, we called Hayden and Brian, we called our families. Everyone said, go home. And that was not what we wanted to hear.
Yeah.
After we got off the phone with Tanya, I just started crying because I was not expecting her to say go home, and she's
Honestly,
someone.
Yeah, we were like, Tanya, be honest, like give it to us straight. Should we go home? And she's like, well, I'm not telling you what to do, but like, go home.
Yeah, but like you have nothing to do in Ukraine right now. Like they don't have anything to do right now. Paperwork. The PHA Ukraine side, Domek, is doing paperwork, and they're buying groceries and dropping them off at orphanages and videoing online and that type of thing. But we can't help with that.
Yeah, and so really it was that specific phone call that Holly and I thought, okay, I guess this means we need to
book those tickets. And I had so much anxiety about coming home and about leaving, and I didn't want to. Both of us didn't really want to. We fell in love with Ukraine. We fell in love with the people. We didn't get to finish what we started in terms of going to all the cities. We didn't get to say goodbye to our people. We'll get to that, but anyway, we booked the tickets. From that day, all of this was going through our heads. That morning, we were so determined to stay. We called the embassy. We had 1 hour to figure out what to do. We booked tickets home, and then the next day we were having to pack and just figure out logistic-wise. Getting to the airport that we needed to leave out of was 8 hours away, and public transportation wasn't running, and so there were so many things to do, and we only told a select few people that we were coming home just because both of us were anxious, and me more so, but I really didn't want to answer questions because I still don't really want to be here.
Because a lot of it too was, people were asking, what is quarantine gonna look like? What are all of these things? And we said, we don't know. Just all of the answers to all of your questions were, we don't know.
And we still kind of don't know. There are the CDC, infectious disease prevention, people do not know what quarantine is supposed to look like. The airlines don't know. COVID tests are not available. So technically we should have gotten tested, but there are not enough COVID tests in America to test everyone coming in internationally. So and nobody has answers to any of our questions.
Yeah.
Okay, small intermission. We grab that key. Have to leave our hotel room and go to the airport to make our flight. So we'll video the rest of this in the airport, we think.
Stay tuned to see if our bags
are
underweight, overweight, or just right.
Hello again. Yep. Hopefully you can hear us. If not, then I'm gonna have to close caption it, and that's really gonna suck.
Or we just repeat what we said
and put a snippet of this in.
So we're in the airport.
Obviously.
Peace.
We are social distancing away from people, and we're pretty sure there's Teen Titans playing in the background, so I apologize for that.
Yeah. Where did we leave off?
We need to talk about... Dang it, what did we talk about in the...
We're talking about the flight.
Attention customers on JetBlue Flight 295 with service to Austin, out of gate 19. In an effort to ensure your health and safety and to encourage social distancing throughout your travels with us, we have made some changes to our boarding process. We will be boarding by row number, starting from the back of the aircraft to the front. The row number is the same as your seat number. Take this time to review your seat number on your boarding pass, remain seated, and avoid lining up until your row number is called. Once your row number has been called, we ask that you take the following measures during boarding to ensure the health and safety of all our customers and crew members. Practice social distancing and allow at least 6 feet of space between yourself and others when lining up.
So it's
prior to getting in line and approaching the podium, make sure you have your required face coverings on, and please have your boarding pass out with your barcode visible for self-scanning.
So you don't have to have license if it's self-scanning.
Okay.
Sorry for that intermission.
Obviously we're in the airport. So our biggest problem was with the flight that we just went on. We landed and are in New York.
Yeah, aka
The epicenter
of
of the disease.
COVID-19 in the U.S. at the moment. So,
And like we had said, there is no information on
quarantine.
what quarantine looks like. So we didn't know if we were going to have to quarantine in New York for 2 weeks, which was when I said absolutely not. I don't want to do that. And that's when I started having panic attacks.
Yes, but shout out to Hayden who called around to people. And
Yeah, our team in America was really wonderful because obviously we were in Ukraine. Our schedules were 9 hours ahead, 8 hours ahead. And so we obviously couldn't get in touch with people in America. We couldn't call American flights and that type of thing. And so Hayden really just came through and doing so great.
So it was determined that it's final destination quarantine. They just want you to get to where you're going to be as quickly as possible. We couldn't find a flight yesterday that went anywhere in Texas.
Yeah. This was the earliest flight, so we had to spend the night in that hotel, which turned out to be
Wonderful.
Amazing. And we're on our way to Austin, where Lori's parents will then
drop my car
drop
off,
Lori's car off. We will wave from a distance, and then
hop in.
drive to my house in early Texas, and stay there for 2 weeks because we have an upstairs that we can lock ourselves in and not see anybody else.
Yeah,
So
it's the most logical answer too, because if you come into contact with anybody,
they then have to shelter with you.
yes,
Or
for
quarantine.
2 weeks from when you contacted them within our 2 week period. So
Anyway, again, that was just my biggest qualm was I get sick really easily. And for all of you people that are going to say, take vitamins, take vitamin C. I have a stepmom that is a nurse and I take so many vitamins.
literally so many vitamins, y'all. Like, it's crazy. She takes like 4 a night.
And so I do.
She just gets sick.
I just get sick so easily.
She got cholera in Africa and the plague in the Amazon.
And my track record for getting sick in foreign countries is not great.
Yeah.
And so I am taking all precautions that I can to not get this disease. And I'm not worried about dying. But secondary life effects are also not known. And like, you don't voluntarily get the flu. And so
Yeah. We're just
it was
being
just
sick isn't
yeah,
fun.
I was worried about that, and we just really didn't want to come back. But we're here, and like we said, we are proud of our decision, and it was a wise decision. And this is probably the least anxious I have been in a really long time. I had 2 we'll tell you in another video, but I had
about our flight because
I had 2 panic attacks on the flight, and we'll just tell you the whole story of the flight, but we made it, and it was the worst 15 hours of my life.
Ditto.
But like we said, we'll do a whole story time about that. We finally are able to take a breath, and we're still not out of the clear yet. Like we still have a whole nother plane ride and car ride. And
But this one, there are very seriously enforcing social distancing measures. So even Holly and I, even though we're traveling together, we have a seat that's empty in between us.
yeah.
So we feel better with this one.
Yeah, and like we said, Ukraine is more lax on things in terms of security, and there were 300 people. That plane was booked to a T, but we're here, and we're making it.
Yeah. And the JFK airport has things figured out now, so security was pretty great. We have
We're being spoiled Americans.
yeah.
Also, another thing that was a big reason we didn't want to leave, because we're talking.
Flight 295 with service to Austin. We'll be using the self-boarding process today, which allows you to scan your own boarding pass. When your rolls have been called, please step onto the blue square on the floor, scan your boarding pass face down using the scanner on your right. A green light will appear, the door will open, will let you know when it's okay to board.
Good.
Okay,
Sorry for that interruption as well.
We had less than a week to really cope with the fact that we were leaving. And so that meant that it was really, for me, like going through the whole grieving process.
Like the grief
We like to
cycle.
begin board and we welcome customers with disability. Once again, customers with disability, you're now welcome to board flight 295 in service to Austin, departing out of gate number 19.
Okay, fast before we get interrupted again.
Holly went through a grief cycle stage a day.
Like quite literally. But the biggest thing was we were very, very close to our people in Zaporozhye. Paulina and Zahar became really great friends. Andre and Marina became like a second parents. And even Tanya, like I truly feel like she is a best friend now. And she had Myron, her baby boy, and we didn't get to see him, and we didn't get to say bye to those people. And so, like, that was my biggest, like...
Continue boarding. We'd like to welcome our Mosaic customers. Be a part of our Mosaic program, and now welcome to board flight 295 in service to Austin here at gate number 19.
That was my biggest,
That was both of our biggest qualm about leaving, was that we weren't going to be able to say bye, and so there was always going to be just kind of like
that
unfinished...
Unfulfilled and lack of closure.
Yeah.
And just... Like, you want to, even before we got to leave America, we got to hug our parents bye, you know?
Yeah.
And so...
And I think we both said we need to
Continue boarding. We'd
FaceTime.
like to welcome customers seated in rows 20 through 25. Rows 20 through 25.
That's us.
You're now welcome to board flight 295.
We'll finish on the plane. Okay, we're on the plane, about to take off. Where did we stop last time? Crap.
Okay, we've been saying that we need to FaceTime our people in Zap, but I don't think we have yet because, like, we just are...
It was
gonna be
so fast.
devastating to see their faces.
Yeah, and know that we're not, like, able to give them a hug. And like we said, it was less than a week that we found out that we were having to leave and then come back to America.
It was just a lot in such a little time.
And we didn't know until a few days ago that we could go home to quarantine.
We were just very overwhelmed, and even our parents, when they would ask us questions,
we would say,
like,
quit asking. Like, I literally called my mom when I told her that I was coming home, and I texted my dad, but my dad's lucky. He's in a cabin right now, and I'm a little jealous, but it's fine. I texted my mom and was like, okay, hi. I don't know the answers to any questions that you're about to ask me.
If you have any questions, please contact Hayden.
Literally, I said, if you have any questions, please contact Hayden, and here is her email. And she said, okay. And I said, we're coming home. We don't know where we're quarantining. We don't know any questions, but we're coming back to America in like 3 days.
Yeah.
And so she said, okay. And then as I knew information, we started like telling her, but like a lot of this we didn't have figured out until the day before we left.
Anyway,
so
again, shout out to Ilya for driving
Thank you,
us.
Ilya. Thank you, Zina.
Thank you to the receptionist and
Spasiba, all
Jane.
of the languages. Yes. There were so many. God is good. God is great. He got us home.
And give us so many people
I
that
love Ukraine. But anyway, that's it. That's the story. We're on the plane. We're about to take off. We just wanted to finish. And like we said, we'll do an updated or another video on how we, how it was the plane ride from hell.
It was the worst plane ride.
I did not think we were going to make
ever. It's a story for another time.
Anyway, we're in America. We're alive. We'll be in Texas soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hi. I'm sitting here waiting on Lori and Ilya to get some coffee from Ilya's favorite, or Zina's favorite coffee place. And I really don't want to leave. It's beautiful. Things are starting to open up. We would be able to see more of the culture, but if we stayed here, domics and schools and churches are still staying closed because there's still a 10-person rule. But I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared to leave this place. It's beautiful, and I feel like I got cheated. I want to get to know the people more. I didn't even get to meet anyone in Poltava. I only got to see Ilya and Zena for a few weeks and from distance, and then they were in the village, and me and Lori were in our apartment, and it's no one's fault. It's the coronavirus. No one could see this. No one could foresee it, but it's just... It really, really sucks. And I hope I can come back and be a part of what I was supposed to be a part of now. And I know that we have been an encouragement, and I know that I served a purpose, and especially in ZAP, I learned so much from everyone there and fell in love with the people. But it just made me crave to get to know everyone else. I wanted to build that relationship with everyone. And I didn't get to. But safety obviously comes first. And we were so obviously supposed to be here. So there was a lesson. I might not figure it out for a few years, but there was a lesson. And I learned so much. Me and Lori are truly family. And I think I'll be back.